Good evening, Tsupiteros, and welcome to another edition of Pillow Talks. As always, I start off with analyzing the index or the PSEI index. But before I begin, I'd like to thank one of my sponsors, APS Online. If you'd like to trade with a broker that has excellent research, do trade with APS Online. Okay, so it has been after this big run in the market the last few days. We corrected last Wednesday and last Thursday. I'll show you the chart of the PSEI index here. So naturally, after this big run last Monday and Tuesday, we corrected back down on Wednesday and Thursday. And then instead of continuing to drop at the lower end of the range, we surprisingly climbed back up last Friday. And that's actually a good sign for the bulls. But I have to admit, unless we take out this high here at about 6,167, we are still in that range for now. And to be really bullish in this market, we need a very convincing breakout above that 6,167 level. Um, on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, will be the end of the ghost month already. So, I don't know, will that mean that the market will be bullish already after Wednesday? I hope so. I hope that the market has already formed a higher low last Friday and that we're going to retest that previous high at 6,167 soon. Um, but I guess as long as we continue to hold above 5.7, we continue to stay above 5.8 or 5.7. I'm still hopeful that after the third quarter and by the time the fourth quarter begins, we should see a more bullish and we should see a stronger market. Okay. Traditionally, the third quarter are normally weak months, and starting from October up to December up to January actually should be more bullish for the markets. Of course, it would help the market more if we can see less COVID cases, no. As of now, I think we're still having about 3 to 5,000 cases a day. Uh, Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks or in the next couple of months, we can bring that numbers down. Okay, before I continue with my presentation for tonight, I'd like to thank another one of my sponsors, AAA Equities. If you'd like to trade a broker with automated stop orders or breakout orders, do trade with AAA Equities. Okay, this weekend or tonight, unlike my previous sessions wherein I give you updates and analysis of current stocks that are moving, um, tonight I'd like to focus more on a specific strategy or a specific tactic that I use in my trading. And I'd like to teach you something tonight. Maybe some of you already knows about this. Maybe some of you have not heard of this. But I'm actually actually a big fan of the Bollinger Bands. I've noticed the last couple of days that a lot of stocks have been moving um, due to a squeeze in the Bollinger Bands. And I'll explain that to you. I'll show you my um, diagram here. I'll open my paint. This is normally how the market moves. You know, it goes up, it consolidates, it goes up again, it consolidates, it goes up again, and then it consolidates. And if it's a topish pattern, it will normally do this, consolidate, trend down again, consolidate, trend down again. Okay, this is normally how the markets behave. And what you'll notice with the Bollinger Bands is it's gonna do something like this. Okay, when the markets are trending, the Bollinger Bands will expand. And when the markets are consolidating, the Bollinger Bands will contract. So you'll notice this cycle of contraction and expansion in the Bollinger Bands. Okay, contraction, expansion, all right, and it goes on and on and on. You know, it's just a cycle, you know, of the markets trending and then consolidating, with the Bollinger Bands contracting and then expanding. Okay, because the markets has been consolidating for quite some time already. If you look at the PSEI index, we've actually been consolidating or moving sideways for like almost 3 months now. Okay, and when the market does this, it normally enters a period of equilibrium. Okay, wherein markets just move like in a very narrow range, and neither the bulls nor the bears are winning. And you can see this in, like, for example, PNB. Let me show you the Bollinger Bands of PNB just before it broke out 2 days ago, or sorry, last Thursday. Okay, okay. So what this is what I'm saying of the squeeze. All right, there. Do you see this part of the Bollinger Bands, wherein the Bollinger Bands have become very narrow, the volume has become very small, and you know, there's not much range to trade for anymore in PNB during this time. If you look at the range of PNB during this time when the Bollinger Bands were squeezed, um, it was making a low of about 1960, and then climbing up to 1990, and then going back down to 1960, and then going back up to 1990. So there's hardly a range that you can trade, you know. So when markets does this, the short-term traders just don't mind the stock anymore. You know, nobody minds it, and those who are holding it are just holding them, and maybe those who have sold, those who wanted to sell PNB have already sold. You know, it's just a period of equilibrium wherein both the bulls and the bears are have equal power. Okay, but of course it can't last forever, and at some point, either the bulls or the bears will give way. And in this case, with PNB, it was the bulls that won the battle, and it led to a massive breakout in the stock. Okay, so that's what happened to PNB from a technical point of view. Okay, and if you look at the, I have here that if you look at the top 10 gainers in the last 5 days, okay, we have BCOR, PNB, ALL, HC, IMI, ACEN, okay, and then these are their setup, their technical setups. You'll notice that out of the 10 stocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 came from a Bollinger Bands squeeze. Okay, let's check out each and every one of them. Okay, let's see ALLHC, and let's plot the Bollinger Bands here. I'm using a standard 20-day Bollinger Bands with 2 standard deviations. Okay? So you'll notice there was a squeeze right there just before prices took off in the last couple of days. Okay? So this is ALLHC. You also have IMI. Let's look at IMI. And let's plot the Bollinger Bands of IMI here. Okay, you'll see also the squeeze right there just before prices took off. And then you have ACEN. Okay, here you go. There's also a squeeze there. And then you have IDC and KPPI. IDC actually just started to break out from its consolidation last Friday. You'll notice the Bollinger Bands in the last few days in IDC has been very, very tight. And it was just bound to start trending soon. I have to clarify, when you see a Bollinger Band squeeze or when the Bollinger Bands are very tight, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to trend up, okay? It just means that there's a big move that's coming up soon and you're just not sure whether it's gonna eventually prices will trend down or will prices eventually trend up, you know? But in the case of the market right now, I just noticed that almost all the Bollinger Band squeezes are leading up to a breakout. Okay? So another stock was KPPI. Okay, you'll notice the Bollinger Bands here are also very squeezed. Okay, see? Okay, so when you see a breakout from a squeeze in a Bollinger Bands, that's actually a buy signal in the stock. All right. So, of course, the next question that you want to ask is, okay, so Miko, what are the other stocks that have Bollinger Band squeezes right now? Okay, here you go. Here are my top 7 squeezes or top 7 recommendations based on a Bollinger Band squeeze. You have Chelsea. Okay, let's look at each and every one of them. Okay, there's Chelsea. You'll notice how very tight the Bollinger Bands of Chelsea is right now. Okay, you have Wilcon. There you go. You can see the tight consolidation also of Wilcon right now. You have Fruit, San Miguel. Let's look at Fruit. There you go. You'll see it's very, very tight as well. And you have San Miguel. San Miguel has just been like consolidating in a line in the last 2 or 3 months. Yeah, it's just not moving at all. Okay. You have SECB, URC, and RLC. Okay, you don't need to plot the Bollinger Bands and to know that the Bollinger Bands are really, really squeezed already. Okay, there you go. You have URC. URC, I think, is about to break out from its consolidation right now. Okay, there you go. And finally, you have RLC. Okay. So, of course, the tighter the consolidation, the more explosive normally is the breakout. And this number here corresponds to the Bollinger Band top divided by the Bollinger Band's bottom. Okay? So, if the Bollinger Bands are just in one price, if the Bollinger Band top and the Bollinger Band bottom are just in one price, then this number here would be equal to 1, okay, which is almost impossible, no? So the closer to 1, the closer this number is to 1, the tighter is the Bollinger Bands, okay? And again, the tighter the Bollinger Bands, when prices break out or break down from the Bollinger Bands, the more explosive the breakout or breakdown will be. So, that's it for this weekend. I hope you learned something from me. And do visit our YouTube channel as well as our website, tsupitero.com. And good luck in the markets next week. See you then.